It's been a crazy weekend. What's up, Jet Nation? GreenBean is back with you after a very long, very impressive draft weekend. I have to say, my first thoughts are we might actually have a GM in Joe Douglas. It's crazy, I know, but it's starting to look that way, isn't it? The things that this guy pulled off, the balls on this guy, are like we've never seen as Jets fans. And I came away traumatized to a degree, but impressed nonetheless. I have to tell you, I feel good overall. But let's start with some of the negative stuff. Now, you ever hear people say to you, do you want the good news or the bad news first? Always take the bad news. 87% of the time, the bad news will completely undermine the good news anyway, so just get to it. Don't buy into hearing the good news first. The good news is you won $1 million. The bad news is you can't have it. You know, those kinds of things. So always hear the bad news, so let's start with that. The bad news is this. In this deep of a wide receiver class, I really am upset that we didn't get at least another one. Donovan Peoples-Jones making it so late. I think it was the 6th round where he was taken by the Cleveland Browns. The fact that that man slid all the way to that point is just it's a travesty. And I would have liked to see Joe Douglas grab him, and if not him, some of the other guys. But that is what it is. We'll get to some of the undrafted free agents where we did a little bit more work there. So that's one negative. Another negative is I do not like this Morgan quarterback pick. Just don't like it. I tried to. I do understand the concept. I get it. You know, having a long-term backup. Some of you guys may remember Pat Ryan. He was our backup for a very long time, and we always just knew who our backup quarterback was. And he stayed in our system, and he knew everything, and he was always there. It was a very warm security blanket. I get it. I just don't know if that's the guy. And on top of that, there were some pretty damn good players still on the board when we decided to take him. Negative number 3, the taking of a safety at that point in the draft boggled my mind. I didn't like it, and I came into the 3rd round so excited after the Denzel Mims trade and all that sort of stuff. So I have some notes here. I'm going to take a look at them. But yeah, right, what I was saying, you know, pick number 68, Ashton Davis, I didn't like that pick, especially where it took place. You know, grabbing Mekhi Becton and then Denzel Mims and then following that with Ashton Davis. There, Damian Lewis was still on the board, Okwara was still on the board, Bond, Anai, so many good guys were still there. Receivers, backs, linemen, cornerbacks, edge, they were all there, and we took a safety. So that bothered me. Now, that all aside, I have to tell you, what a draft, huh? What a draft. It seems like we have a GM. I can't even believe it. So let's start with the beginning. We got our tackle at pick 11. There were rumors of Joe Douglas trading up because of all 4 tackles being gone before 11. He waited that out. There were other rumors that he already had a trade in place with potentially the Cardinals to leapfrog the Cleveland Browns, or maybe even the Jaguars. So we had some work already done in the event the tackles were rolling off the board. We could have moved up if need be, and it started to look that way when the New York Giants took Andrew Thomas at pick number 4. It started to look like it could get dicey in there. Joe Douglas waited it out, and we were able to grab my second rated offensive tackle in this draft, Mekhi Becton. Like I've said before, I didn't love the 2 right tackles moving over. I didn't like that was the main idea with those guys being Wills and Wirfs. I love both of those players, but I thought the fact that we're grabbing a right tackle, especially Wills, who's never played left tackle, with the assumption he's going to slide over, I just didn't like that was going to be the move. I would have much preferred Becton or Andrew Thomas. And look, through all the last 2 months of baloney with these draft analysis and mock drafts and all these experts, Andrew Thomas was sliding. I said it time and time and time again. He will be the number 1 tackle taken because he is the number 1 tackle in the class. Now, guys like Becton may have more upside, that's fine. But as far as turnkey offensive linemen coming in right away, playing at a high level, locking down the left tackle spot, Andrew Thomas was the guy, and that did in fact happen. So, hey, GreenBean. But anyway, I was just so psyched that number 2, Mekhi Becton, was still there for us. He is a monster man, 6'7", 365 pounds, quick feet, incredibly strong, incredibly aggressive. I'm not sure if you guys took notice. He spent the next the next couple days reaching out to each one of his, the following Jets draft picks and pumping them all up. Let's get at it. He's on top of it. He said he likes to put people on the ground, and that's what we've seen from him. Great pick. His upside is tremendous, and he's going to be the best damn left tackle we've had since Brick. By far, he may even exceed Brick. So even if he just gives us Brick, I'm fine with it. Mekhi Becton, pick number 11. Now, interestingly, and I think the most magical moment in the entire draft was when Denzel Mims, for some reason, was sliding down the board. Why? I could not tell you. He was my 4th rated receiver in the entire draft. I did like Shenault more, but I've said this before. I would have probably taken Mims over Shenault if it was just those two that I was deciding between because of the injury history with Shenault. So Denzel Mims was really my 3rd in the entire draft. And when he slid till 4, let's back up. The 2nd round started with T. Higgins and Pittman going with the first 2 picks in the 2nd round. It looked grim. It looked like these guys, none of them were going to be there for us, and that we may even have to trade up a few spots to try and get one of the top receivers. So Denzel Mims slides down to 48, and what does Joe Douglas do? He trades back. He trades back. Now when that happened, I thought to myself, here we go. No matter who it is, no matter where they come from, no matter pedigree, my ass, we stink. The Jets GM is going to make a mistake and blow it from the 2nd round. That's where it starts. The 2nd round, we're going to blow this draft. He trades back 11 spots with Denzel Mims sitting there. It looked like we were never going to get him, but this showed just how well Joe Douglas and his team knew the board. Denzel Mims was their target. They knew that the subsequent 11 picks after 48, that there was a very low probability that Denzel Mims would go off the board. They made the trade. They acquired pick 101, and Denzel Mims did in fact slide to 59, where we took him. That's the other part of all this. Sure, trades and all that, yeah, it's actually picking the guy. So we traded back and actually took him. I can't even believe it. So wonderful. One of the best receivers we've had, at least potential-wise, in a long time. So the 3rd pick, pick 68, Ashton Davis. Now, here's the thing. 2 reasons that Ashton Davis pick is a positive. I already told you the negative, but the positive is, number 1, he's a hybrid type of a player. He's played free safety, strong safety, cornerback, nickelback, and even middle linebacker. He's got kick return ability and good return ability. So he's a jack of all trades and a good jack of all trades. But the other potential positive is that Marcus May's contract comes up next year as well. So we all know about the Jamal Adams piece, but Marcus May's contract is also up next year. We don't get a 5th-year option because he was picked in the 2nd round. And while I do think they'll try to retain him, Ashton Davis is a true, has the true ability to be a free safety. And in the event we cannot keep Marcus May, the replacement is in-house. But don't let that get it twisted. This guy is here to contribute this year in our 3 safety package, dime packages. He's going to be on the field. He's got a nose for the ball, and he's a hard tackler, all those kinds of things. So it actually is a good pick. Again, I would have preferred someone else, but it is what it is. Athleticism, character. Those are the types of things that Joe Douglas went for there. Pick number 79, we went with an edge rusher, which I think is great. Now, Jabari Zuniga would have been a high second-round pick in the event he actually made it through the season last year. He had a nagging ankle injury, and he only played 6 games. I was actually reaching out to one of our resident Jet Nation experts on the Florida Gators, a poster named Jiff. I actually reached out to him about a month ago, asking specifically for some details on Jabari Zuniga because I was researching him, and I came away loving him. This is not Ja'Kai Polite. This is a totally different player. Yes, plays the same position. Yes, wears the same uniform, but a totally different player. That's the only thing they have in common. Jabari Zuniga, high character, high motor, positive guy to bring aboard. He's right along the lines of what Joe Douglas is thinking, and I love the pick. And I love the position, addressing the edge. So at number 1, so what we did, we came up with pick 101 now. And what does Joe Douglas do? He accepts a call from Bill Belichick and the Patriots, which this is the second time that Joe Douglas has traded with Bill Belichick when it hasn't happened in the 20 years prior. It was just off limits. Joe Douglas doesn't care about any of that. He came in, he traded with Bill, and the truth is that he fleeced Bill. Now, that's the player side. Bill Belichick felt strongly enough to actually trade up to get this tight end. It's his second tight end in the draft. So he does, he's on to something. He's got a plan. But with the player side, we fleeced him. Number 1, we got 2 4th-round picks. 125 and 129 is what we got. Pick 120 was our own. But here's the secret little silver underlining here, is that we regained our 6th-round pick that we gave the Patriots in the Demaryius Thomas trade. So we now have that 6th-round pick back when next year we were going into the draft without it. So that's great news. Great work by Joe Douglas. He decides to take LaMichael Pirine, which was one of the guys I took in my mock. Love LaMichael Pirine. I don't have to get into all the details now. He's a great option to spell Bell. He's a great option to replace Bell. He shouldn't really be the bell cow back for us, but he breaks arm tackles, always seems to get that extra yard. I love him, love him, love him, and he's got kick return ability as well. Pick 125, and here it is. I can't get myself to like it. I know what we're trying to do. I get it. I just can't get myself to like it. FIU, on top of it all. My wife went to FIU. I went to their games, and I would watch these guys. It would be like 300 people in the stands. Not that has anything to do with it, but I'm just trying to paint a picture of what we're talking about here. FIU quarterback in the 4th round, when there were just such high quality guys sliding down. I couldn't believe it. I'm upset about this pick. I can't seem to get around it. It just is what it is. Pick number 129, love Cameron Clark. Did some work and some research on Cameron Clark. He's going to be moving from tackle to guard most likely, and this guy's going to end up being our starter. Now, the 1-year contracts are starting to make some sense all around the team, actually. So this is what he's doing. He's getting guys in-house, and he's developing what's called the pipeline, guys. We haven't had a pipeline in a long time. We were just, if the starters went down, it was a big fat turd. We were rolling on the field, hoping to occupy some space at many positions. Joe Douglas is developing his pipeline. Cameron Clark is one of those guys, and he's going to end up being our starter. He's a road grader. He's an animal. He's very aggressive, and he's one of the team captains. This guy, for an offensive lineman, actually was the team MVP 2 years ago. That's unheard of for an offensive lineman to be team MVP. This is right in the middle of Joe Douglas taking 5 team captains in a row, let's say it that way, okay? So it shows the type of character that Joe Douglas is trying to bring into the fray onto the New York Jets. 5 team captains, high character, high motor, positive workers. That's what he's trying to bring into the team, and I like it. Cameron Clark is fantastic. Now, the 5th round, I'm blown away that this guy slid. If he would have come out in 2018, he was not sliding past the 2nd round. Bryce Hall was one of my favorite players in the entire draft. Now, in full transparency, again, I live in Charlottesville. I'm a little bit more tuned into the UVA players, but Bryce Hall is king in Charlottesville. Joe Reed actually went before him, which blew my mind. I didn't even know if Joe Reed, the wide receiver, was going to get drafted, maybe 6th, 7th round, but he went before Bryce Hall, which blew everybody's mind. In Charlottesville, Bryce Hall is exactly the type of cornerback that we want. Make no mistake and mark my words, 2021 Bryce Hall will be our starting outside cornerback, potentially cornerback 1. He's that good. In the 5th round, he is nothing less than a steal. Bryce Hall, love it. Pick 191, the fun part of the draft, Braden Mann, who's actually just that. This is a man for a punter. He likes to make tackles, he's aggressive, he's physical, and he's got the potential to be the #1 Pro Bowl type of punter in the league. The great thing about him is he has great control over where he places his balls. From what I understand, Greg Williams was one of the big lobbyists for this punter. So it wasn't only just Boyer, it was defensive coordinator Greg Williams, who wanted to give his defense more of an opportunity to, dial in the blitzes from within the 10-yard line, and that's what Braden Mann brings. You guys know I love Lachlan Edwards. It is what it is. Don't worry, Lachlan Edwards will leave and be a Pro Bowl punter like the last few guys that we've cut. That's the sequence of events for the Jets. We get a punter, we let him go, he becomes a Pro Bowl punter or Super Bowl. That's more likely what's going to happen. He'll go to the team and they'll win a Super Bowl. But so punter Braden Mann, fantastic. Again, there were guys on there I would have preferred. Kenny Willekes was still there. Lots of guys were still there. So I would have chosen another route, but it is what it is. He's going to be a great addition to our team. It's very important. So now pick 211, we traded with the Colts. We have almost their entire defensive secondary, but it is what it is too. Quincy Wilson in 2018 had a very good year. In 2017, he was a #2, 2nd round draft pick, and he's got boatloads of potential. See, the thing is with the Colts is that they actually switch defensive schemes, defensive systems. So the guys like Desir, like Wilson, like Hairston, they weren't fitting in there so much anymore. Very similar to what happened with Henry Anderson. These guys, they just changed their system, and the players that they had were no longer a fit. So he's got some potential. Again, at pick 211, Kenny Willekes was sitting there. There were quite a few guys sitting there, but Willekes in particular, I think he would have been a fantastic addition to our team. But that is what it is. Again, we got another cornerback. So we have an abundance of cornerbacks coming out of this draft. When we went into free agency with 2, we had Mollett and Bless Austin, and now there are so many damn cornerbacks on this team, we don't know what to do with them. Mark my words, and this will lead us right to the undrafted free agents. We'll just touch on that today. The undrafted free agents of Lamar Jackson. You saw in my mock, I freaked out that he made it to the 6th. I don't know why this guy is sliding. Yes, he has some technique issues. Truth is, he might even be better suited for safety, but I don't know. But make no mistake, Bryce Hall and Lamar Jackson will be starters for us. That's what these guys really are, starting caliber guys. Lamar Jackson, undrafted free agent, Bryce Hall, 5th round pick. They're going to be starters in 2021 and most likely contributors in 2020. I could not be more excited. Another couple undrafted free agents of note. We have Bryce Huff from Memphis. The guy was supposed to be drafted. They were talking about 4th, 5th, or 6th round for this guy. He slides back, the edge rusher. He's got a very, very high motor. He's an incredibly hard worker, and he's got potential to make the team. We have a void in the edge rusher position, so he can certainly make the team. He is a defensive end, not an outside linebacker from what I understand. And he's going to be given a real shot to make the team. Another one, and we'll do a whole other video about the undrafted free agents. But one guy I wanted to bring up was Lawrence Cager, the wide receiver who was a Miami Hurricane and then switched over to Georgia. This guy is 6'5". At least I think that's the guy. I could still be mixed. I'm pretty sure. Lawrence Cager, 6'5". he's a red zone target, and he's a damn good one. I'm very excited, so we didn't draft as many wide receivers as I would have liked. I really would have liked to come out of there with another one, but we did get Lawrence Cager and George Campbell, another 6'4" receiver. So you can see what we're doing now. We got a bunch of 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" receivers. Joe Douglas understands the benefit to a quarterback when you just need to throw it up and know that your receiver's got a better chance to get it than the defensive back. Isn't it? It seems so damn simple, but for whatever reason, our GMs never got that. Joe Douglas obviously gets it because everybody he picked or brought onto the team is over 6'1". I like it. I'm in. So overall, Jet Nation, I think we had a very, very good draft. I could not be more excited. Mekhi Becton, Denzel Mims, Bryce Hall, Lamar Jackson. I can't even take it. I'm so excited. I hope you are. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Tell me what you thought. Tell me who you liked, who you didn't like. Do you have a reason to like James Morgan out of FIU? Throw it at me. Go to jetnation.com, get in the conversation, or comment in the comment section below. Go Jets.